If you love stories of success, stories of how someone took an idea and became an incredible success, you're going to love the story behind Starbucks. It's filled with lots of challenges, which is what I love about stories like this. By the way, I'm getting this from the book, 100 Great Businesses and the Minds Behind Them. It's amazing how many businesses today that probably would have not ever gotten started off the ground unless they had people that truly believed in their idea enough to overcome just about any challenge that they faced. And of course, I'm talking about stories of resilience. The brains behind Starbucks is a guy by the name of Howard Schultz. Now, Howard Schultz had a very modest beginning. He grew up in a very poor part of New York, worked various jobs, went to college, and then he landed a job at a company that makes houseware products. And he noticed that one of his clients were buying a large amount of coffee-type equipment. And that company, of course, was Starbucks. Now, this is early 1970s. Starbucks was nothing like it is today. They made coffee, they brewed coffee, but it was not the concept, that cafe feel, that ambiance that you get when you walk into Starbucks today. It was nothing like that. But he absolutely loved the company, fell in love with them. But for the next 10 years, he worked at his job at this other company. And after about 10 years, he started to talk to Starbucks about an idea that he had for them, what he would like to do for them. And if they hire him, here's what he can do with their company, which is pretty bold if you think about it. And he spoke with them for about a year, 12 months of telling them, I can do this, I can do this. They finally believed him and they hired him. He left his New York job, took a cut in pay and moved across the country to live in Seattle to work for this small company called Starbucks. Now that is belief in your idea, to really just change your entire life. And you would think that's the story, right? He started working there and he changed everything. Not even close. He was working there for about a year. Some changes were being made, and he took a trip to Italy. And there he went to a cafe. And when he saw how the cafes are run in Italy, he fell in love with it. Thought this is the way it should be. He loved that whole community feel, how he felt so welcomed. It was a very warm atmosphere. People sitting down in nooks and crannies and doing their own thing. He loved it. Came back to the States, told Starbucks all about it and how he wants to take this idea and really make it Starbucks. They liked his idea, but they weren't nearly fast enough on changing their whole way of how they did things. In fact, they took too long. At one point, they even told Howard that they didn't have enough money to make all these changes because they were spending it on something else. And he got frustrated and he quit. He left Starbucks and spoke with a bunch of investors, raised money to start his own company that's basically going to be a competitor, right? But to do this idea. Before that company really got off the ground, Starbucks came up for sale. And he talked to a bunch of investors again, raised more money so he can go ahead and buy Starbucks. And now once he bought Starbucks, now he's the owner or the main guy, and he wasn't a 100% owner, but he bought the company and he took it to the next level, doing all the things that you see today. Now, I gotta say, in the book, it talks about when he was talking to investors to raise money. And he says in there, I gotta read this because this, for those of you who make a lot of phone calls or who hate going on sales pitches and you're thinking, man, I've been out for the last 3 days, I did 10 pitches, I didn't sell one. Listen to this. Even with the gift of gab, he estimates that out of hundreds of pitches he made, only a fraction of the meetings resulted in funding. Those who did invest would become part of the most profitable business in the world during the 1990s. So think about that. He talked to hundreds of people and only a few of them invested. But of course, that's all he needed. He just needed a few. Anyway, that's the story about Starbucks, and I plan on doing more from the book. Great book. And yeah, thanks for watching.